Good morning, everybody. It is a good morning in sunny Southern California, and I am coming to you live from Long Beach, California. If it is not morning where you are, well, thanks for tuning in. We have, golly, usually I get to brag about the bright blue skies. We have gray skies today, but that's okay. It's still a beautiful day, and I hope it is a beautiful day where you are in the world. And Kathleen is on the line. She is our expert today. Is it a beautiful day where you are, Kathleen?
It is, yes, nice and sunny. This is
Woo!
Kathleen,
Okay.
and hello, everyone.
Yes, we'll give Kathleen an official, a more formal introduction in just a minute. I want to welcome everybody who's on the line live. Thank you so much. And this is a live webinar entitled Relieve Website Anxiety with These Marketing Hacks Easy Constant Contact Integration. We're going to talk about just that, how to leverage the Constant Contact product suite in your website. And you know what? You're not going to need a PhD. You're not going to need to hire someone at $9 gajillion an hour with a little bit of sweat equity and a little bit of attention following some great tips that Kathleen is going to provide to us. You will be able to do this. I'm your host for today. Kathleen will be your expert presenter. I'm just kind of the opening act, so to say. My name is Mark Michelot, and I have a consulting practice called Building Aspirations. And for a number of years, I've been helping entrepreneurs, small business owners, solopreneurs market themselves in the craziness that is online, whether that's social media marketing, email marketing, internet marketing. I help you build success from the online mess. And this webinar is being sponsored today by Constant Contact. Constant Contact is a provider of social media and email marketing services, and they've got 600,000 plus clients worldwide, including Kathleen, who has been a user for a number of years. And there's my contact information, a little bit about me. I'm Mark, and let me introduce you to our expert. Our expert today is Kathleen Reeder from Kathleen Reeder Wildlife Photography. She takes pictures of lions, tigers, and bears. Holy moly bajoli, that is her job. How cool is that? And not only is that her job, but she is successful at it. For someone to find something that is their true and sincere passion and be able to make it work, it's like, holy cow, both of those together, that's extraordinary. That's exceptional. And I'm glad she's achieving success because she deserves it. She has extraordinary skill, and she's been able, with a little tutelage, be able to take that extraordinary skill and tap into the Constant Contact product suite to truly be a rock star online. So, Kathleen, would you like to give an official bio and a more official welcome to everybody on the line?
I can't top that, Mark. Thank you so much. My goodness. Hello, everyone. I hope I live up to the expectations that Mark has laid out.
Oh, yes. Oh, she will. Exactly. I am an extraordinarily practical individual, and if you have been to any of my workshops over the last 20 years, if you've read my books, if you've seen any of my 550 plus videos online on YouTube, you know that I'm a no nonsense, what's the problem, what's the solution type of guy. And Kathleen emulates that same idea. Of course, we're going to give you some strategy. Of course, we're going to give you some big ideas. But sometimes you need to know, what do I do? What button do I click? So Kathleen is definitely going to provide you that type of stuff today. And it's going to be her leading the majority of the discussion today. And we're live, and we are recording this. And you will get a follow-up from me, Mark, at buildingaspirations.com tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with a link to the recording of this webinar. So we want you to take some good notes. We want you to learn a ton of stuff, but we also want to emphasize that you'll have that as a resource coming to you tomorrow morning. So make sure you look for that. Now, it's Kathleen. I'm going to give her the official reins in just 30 seconds here, but that doesn't mean it's just her. There's a chat box, and say howdy ho. Just invest 30 seconds right now to say hello to us in the chat box. Maybe give us your name and your city and your business. And as you have questions and comments throughout the webinar, please add them in that chat box. So with that, I am going to officially give the reins over to Kathleen.
Thanks, Mark.
Kathleen, hey.
Great. Awesome. Thanks for joining, everyone. And to also emphasize what Mark said, to please feel free to ask questions in the chat box. So what I want to share with you today are some of the lessons learned that I've had over the last several years of using Constant Contact, and I'm going to provide them to you in simple 10 steps, 10 tips, and I think that they're applicable to everybody. You have to have your own unique spin on them, but they're useful to everybody. Tell you a little bit about my background. It was in 2009. I was in Grand Teton National Park, and I was there actually on a landscape workshop, but I found myself completely gravitating towards the wildlife, the moose, the bear, the osprey, and I realized really on that trip, so I'd been taking pictures for 40 years, but nothing grabbed me like that day. I figured out at that point that that was what I really wanted to do. I had a corporate full-time job. Photography was a part-time hobby at that time, and I started just really diving into wildlife photography from that trip on. And I love this quote from Mark Twain that the two most important days of your life are the day that you're born and the day you find out why. And I found out why on that trip. So just to show you the steps that I took, kind of full disclosure, when I came back from that trip, I posted a few photos on the Arizona Highways website and got a lot of encouragement and started to kind of build my confidence in my photography. So I submitted some photos to Nat Geo's website, and that was in the end of 2009. And it was one very key moment. Solent News and Photo Agency contacted me in early 2010 and said that they wanted to sign a contract with me to be able to publish my photos worldwide. And I remember showing it to the contract to a few people and thinking, well, I've never even heard of this company before. But I decided that what the heck, it wasn't going to be like I was going to publish these photos any other way, at least that I could see. So I signed the contract, and from there, it was amazing the visibility that my photos got, so much so that I even have had photos shown up on NBC's Today Show. I've had more photos published in Nat Geo books, published in various magazines and online sites around the world, and now am a Getty contributor. I show this slide just to show kind of the simplicity of taking a few steps that ultimately can open up doors for you. In 2011, so I'd been photographing wildlife for a couple years, I decided I wanted to write a book about wildlife photography, some of the lessons that I had learned. And I very coincidentally ran into someone who was familiar with Mark and gave me his contact information, introduced us, and I was in Arizona and Mark was in Southern California, and we talked and I said, well, I want to write a book, and Mark said, okay, great. So he got me started in finding a book designer and talking about the topics and so on, but it was so much more than that. Mark encouraged me to think broader, to not just think of a book, that book was one thing, but there were lots of things that I could do with the information that I had. And his help was thought-provoking, it was encouraging, it was inspirational, and I encourage you to take advantage of an opportunity to speak with Mark, because he helped me so much. And it just takes the courage to take that step to have the conversation, and you'd be amazed at how far you can go. I do believe that, and this is my own personal quote, that being successful is not about being fearless, because I have fear all the time. It's not about being fearless. It's about having the courage to take action even when you are afraid. Because in fact, I think some level of fear is good, because it kind of keeps us on our toes. We're always thinking, consciously thinking, okay, I want to do a good job. But don't let it stifle you. Don't let it stop you from going for your dream, whatever that is. So I mentioned that I worked with Mark to get a book started. I ended up publishing my first book. It was 2 years later, in December of 2013, and since then have just published a more recent book this July. That's an ebook. And I spent 18 months on the first book, which was far too long. I spent literally a week on the second book, but it was from a lot of notes that I already had. So the point is, it also doesn't have to be perfect before you get things out there. That, with the first book, I spent a tremendous amount of time, and I remember showing drafts and talking to Mark about various drafts, and he was like, let's get going, and I just kept thinking, oh, I got to make sure this is perfect and that's perfect. But boy, time goes by, and the more you're sitting there thinking about what you're going to do, the more somebody else is already jumping in and has a couple books out there. So if you've got a topic, get the help and get it out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. And since then, with Mark's help, I've grown the small business. I remember Mark asking me in 2012, have you thought about teaching workshops? And I thought, well, a little bit. But again, it's like, oh, that there's fear there. I know I fear. But I went and talked to some friends of mine at Out of Africa Wildlife Park, and they said, we've been waiting for you to ask us. It's like, oh, geez, all it took was Mark kind of putting the idea in my head. And I started teaching in 2012, and now I've been teaching since. I have bookings, workshop bookings that are over a year out in advance, pricing from anywhere from $150 up to $8,000. Mark always emphasizes the importance of stepping stones in terms of cost that your customers are willing to pay. It's hard, you can't jump from 150 to 8,000, but you can jump from 10 to 50 to 100 to 300 to 1,000 in terms of value, and I have been able to do that now with my Africa trips running at 8,000. So I've finished over 50 workshops to date. I have over 500 customers, and I'm now building SmugMug websites for other photographers. I've done about 10 of them. Love doing that. Do it in a quick way, but very customized approach for each website. I have multiple affiliations that have been established, and I have speaking engagements scheduled throughout the year, and I mentioned earlier I'm a Getty contributor. So all good stuff. My goal with Constant Contact, which I started using shortly after I was just about done with my book, so in 2013, was to share useful wildlife information with people who were enjoying my photos, and to provide answers to common questions, to make it something of value. I had a list. I wanted to build a bigger list of loyal followers. I wanted to be able to market my photos. This was before I was contributing to Getty. I wanted to market and sell my first book, create customers, and maybe sell more stuff. So how has Constant Contact helped me relieve website anxiety? So the first tip, and Mark mentioned, you don't have to spend a gazillion dollars. Well, you really don't. Even leveraging Mark's help, it hasn't been, comparably speaking, with everything else that we spend our money on, with software and photography equipment and going places. It's actually a fairly small investment to get help with things that maybe aren't your strength. Do what you do best. So I've leveraged Constant Contact marketing reps to help me with putting templates together and some continuity across my communications. I've worked with Mark now for several years, huge impact on my business success. I worked with a website designer. I went from having strictly a SmugMug website to having an overlay of WordPress, and I didn't know anything about WordPress, so I hired someone to do that for me, and I'm so glad I did. I think getting help with certain things that require expertise to have, and rather than you having to build that expertise, let someone else do it for you. So don't go it alone. There's tons of people out there that have skills. I have an accountant. I would not want to do my own accounting. It's just not fun and not something I want to spend my time doing. So don't
Oh
go
my
it alone.
goodness. I love this tip, Kathleen, and yeah, I've been a huge fan of this for a number of years. It's totally true that, I don't fix my own brakes because I don't know how to fix my brakes. And I probably could fix my brakes on my car, but it's going to take me 50 hours to figure out how to do it. I could just go to a mechanic and pay them.
Yeah,
You know,
and
we
it's an investment, but it's so worth it.
Oh yes, it is worth it, exactly. And we have a few people to say hi to. Gayleen said howdy ho from Frankfort, Kentucky,
Oh,
from
fantastic.
Nabata African Safaris. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Carrie is here, and she's lamenting that she's coming from the cold mountains in Colorado. So sorry, Carrie. I'm 6 miles from the beach.
Oh, come on now, don't rub it in. Fantastic. Well, welcome. So the second tip that I want to give you is to encourage you to leverage templates and blogs and podcasts, YouTubes. There's tons of information out there, a lot of free information, learning templates, learning podcasts, reading people's blogs, watching topics come across social media. I'll go out if I want to learn about something new. I'll just go and search it on YouTube, and there's invariably 10 or 20 YouTube videos that come up on the topic. And so rather than spending money or trying to figure it all out, boy, get the help from people that know it. So and when you listen and learn and watch and look at these templates, then you want to put your unique spin on it. What is it that you like about it? What you don't like about it? Sometimes I'll read a blog and there's just one sentence that resonates with me, and I carry that sentence forward, or even it's just a couple of words, but it's a way to spark the inspiration in yourself and to bring out your own thoughts and ideas, and then you can deliver your messages through these different venues and others. One thing that's really important, and I have to admit it's a challenge for me too, and that is to establish a calendar, a bi-weekly, a monthly, a weekly, whatever your rhythm is, but establish a calendar where it's predictable, where you can think about, okay, what do you want to, how do you want to communicate to your customers, your followers, and if you're going to send an email out, are you going to do it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and just jot down some notes on a day-to-day basis when you're making to-do lists or just in thinking about other things. Just jot down some topics that you might want to talk about in a blog or in an email. And it's best, the studies show, if you block out time to do it, that you're more likely to get it done. It's just like exercise or anything else. Marketing calendar requires some amount of discipline by having it on your calendar and the time blocked. I shoot to have my blogs out on Thursday, and if I'm doing a newsletter, I'll do a blog before the newsletter so that I can include links to the blog in my newsletter. And I'm kind of an end of the week kind of person on my calendar. But it creates predictability for your customer. If you like to communicate with your customer or your followers weekly, then what day of the week would you like to communicate with them? And then they can expect, I'm going to get an email from from this person. I know I will at the beginning of each week. And if it's inspirational and it's something that's of interest to them, they'll look forward to getting that information. The next tip is to set up master templates for all your communications. I have a, oops, hang on here. I just went past the slide there. I have a standard header and a standard footer for all of my email communications. And I had Constant Contact. I, again, try not to do the heavy lifting on my own. I went ahead and, even though I had been doing headers and footers, especially in the footer, I wanted a lot of different links. I wanted a lot of different icons. The Better Business Bureau, the Visit Arizona, and all my social media links. I wanted all that set up, and I wanted a standard look and feel, so I hired a Constant Contact marketing rep to set that up for me. You know, it's a one-time cost. It's done. It's on all of my communications now. Easy. Same thing with the header. I have one header now with, this is Samara Bengal Tiger. I have her on all as a header on all of my communications. And, you know, it makes it easy. I don't even have to think about it now. So you have a master template. Now, I also had Constant Contact set up the inside of the template for my communications as well. And so there is some continuity within the template, but the header and footer is consistent across every communication.
You know, let me emphasize here that Kathleen is talking about something that's critically important that some of you, if you're not astute about marketing, may overlook. It's a forest for the trees type of thing. And it's the idea of visual branding. People need to be familiar with you, who you are, and what you look like. And there's a reason that the Coca-Cola logo has not changed in 168 years. People are very familiar with it. And you think about this, the logos that are dominant in your life that you see on cars and commercials and what do not change. The visual branding is a really critically important part of your business. So she's absolutely right. You need to be consistent with that.
Thank you, Mark. That's a really good point to make. The next tip is something that I did more recently, and I would encourage you to do the same. With my recently designed website, which is a WordPress overlay onto my SmugMug website, I worked with Constant Contact to set up, you see the little triangle sign up button at the top of the screen, and that is now on my website on all the pages. And if you hover over that on any page, it will bring up this pop-up that will allow you to sign up easily. Just put your email address in to sign up for my emails, my newsletters. So you don't have to go into the contact screen or somewhere deep in the website to find out how you subscribe. And if you're jumping around my website, this is going to be right there on the top of the screen to be able to sign up. If you see information that you like, then it's easy to sign up. And Constant Contact helped me to get this onto my integrated into my website. One of the other things that Constant Contact did for me that has been so helpful is creating a series of emails that will go out automatically to new subscribers. So when someone puts their email address in that little form, I don't have to do anything. They get a first email that says, "Thank you for subscribing. Here's a free PDF and it's a detailed list of lenses and what I photograph with those lenses, what the minimum focus distance is on each of the lenses." It's a high value free PDF that comes in the first email. And then in that email it says, you're going to get 2 more emails in the next 7 days that are free information for you. So a few days later, again, I don't have to do anything. They get a second email that says, thanks again for signing up for Kathleen's subscription. Here's a link to a free webinar on compositional tips. Encourage you to view this. And then the third email that comes out at about the 7-day window includes a video of what my teaching approach is and a complete list of all of my workshops with a link to my website inviting them to join. So I've started off with, thanks so much for joining this group. Here's some free information to help you. Then a little tickler a few days later, thanks again, here's a free webinar for you. And then a few days later, here's Kathleen's approach to teaching, and here's all the workshops that she teaches, and you're invited to please join a workshop. So this is completely automated. I don't have to do anything. And now that it's in place, what's nice is I can update the PDF, the webinar, the information that these link to, and it will automatically update, provide the updated information to new subscribers. This has been huge because it's one thing to sign up for a newsletter and to get an email that says, please confirm that you're signing up for this newsletter. And that's all you get, and then you wait for that first newsletter to come from that person. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And that's nice, but boy, this really steps it up. You know, makes them remember you. Oh yeah, I signed up for this person's email. Great. Oh, this is free stuff. Oh, high value. Woo, so glad I did this. Now, oh geez, I get a webinar too. Oh, and here's what else she's got available. So really, really helpful. I mentioned, and Mark mentioned, the importance of branding. The next tip is about creating the same look and feel across your website and your communications. So one is having your communications look the same as they go out. The second is having also your website look similar to your emails going out. So similar kind of branding. I replicated the font type and the photo that pops first on my website onto my communications. All the colors that are used on my website are now used in all my communications. So that ties it together. I want a consistent look and feel across all of the elements so that when someone gets it, they recognize, oh, that's Kathleen's. The eighth tip is to increase the traffic to your website with social media integration. So Constant Contact always, they have a way to post all of your emails out to the various social media websites, and whether that's Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, and you always want to include those in your email so that you get that distribution. You know, it's automatic, doesn't take additional time, and the other thing you want to do is go the other way. So when you're posting to your social media accounts, whichever ones you have, be sure to include a link back to your website in your posts. The one recent change that I made that I'm so glad I did is whenever I post anything to Facebook, I always include see more photos from this gallery at, and then I include a link back to the gallery of photos, and that brings people back to your website. Any way that you can draw people to your website, you want to do that, and through Constant Contact. With the email communications, you can get people coming back to your website through those emails, and then be sure to be putting the links to your website on your accounts, social media accounts. And then you want to look at your analytics and see what's working, where are you getting most of the traffic from, and then replicate that. One of the changes that I made in the last 6 months was I had been using Constant Contact for both the landing page, which is the first page you come to when someone wants to see a workshop, an event. I was using Constant Contact for that landing page as well as the registration page. What I've since modified, and now my website's a little more integrated with Constant Contact, is that the landing page is contained within my website, and then when you click register for a workshop, then it takes you to Constant Contact. And within Constant Contact, everything's automated. That screen, the form that you see on the right side, once someone fills that out and goes to pay, that's it. They're registered. It's updated in Constant Contact for the event. It's updated on my website. It tracks everything automatically, the payment, all the information. When they register their name and their email address, everything goes into an email list that then I use to communicate to them. So very automated, very integrated.
Kathleen, how much is this workshop right here?
This one's $1,295. And they
So
make a
this,
deposit they make an initial deposit of $500, and then I bill them through PayPal, invoice them for the balance 90 days prior to the workshop.
okay, so let me emphasize, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have an automated process to sell out workshops on your webpage using Constant Contact, and you're charging well in excess of $1,000, and this entire thing is automated.
Yes.
Wow, that's the power of this. And did it take you, I don't know, hundreds of hours to figure out how to make this work?
It's been an organic process. I started out with using Constant Contact for the landing page, and that actually, took me a day to get it set up.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then
It's
it's
quick.
over time that it gets better and better. The look gets better. The functionality was visible and workable from day one. And you just make it it just looks more and more professional as you kind of fine tune things. But the basic process was immediate as far as ability to use it and get it up and running.
We have a question from Carrie. Carrie is a travel agent and loves to take photos of the adventures, and she's trying to write about them a little bit more on a blog. Great,
Hmm.
great idea. She's asking for tips on how to get started. Let me answer this question, and I'll ask Kathleen to input as well. There's actually another webinar that I will be hosting later on this month. I think it's titled 21 Ways to Say It. And I literally will walk you through 21 different ideas of how to say the same idea without being boring or repetitive or anything like that. They're just very creative ways. And what I'm doing is I'm posting in the chat box right now a link to the online calendar, and I believe it's the 28th of December or something like that. You can find that webinar and register and participate. And Carrie will be giving you at least 21 different ideas on how to get started. Kathleen, do you have any tips?
Oh, that's awesome. I think that I want to go to that myself. I have to say, blogging for me, I was a little intimidated by the thought of blogging, and at first I thought, oh my gosh, and I think it took me days to write my first blog, and now I can push them out in a couple of hours. A lot of it is getting comfortable that you have something to say and people are interested in hearing it, and talk like you're talking to a friend, and how you might tell a story or how you might talk about something that you did that was fun, and people will be interested. And the more that you get comfortable doing that, the easier it gets. I'm going to go to the last tip, which is kind of along these lines, and this I probably overemphasize this point, but I think it does hold a lot of people back. I think, and Benjamin Franklin said, to succeed, jump as quickly at opportunities as you do at conclusions. That it requires a kind of a leap of faith that you can do this. That, and I love this photo because most people are afraid of snakes, and in this photo, no one looks like they're afraid. And so, be brave, hold the snake, take a step, get help, look at what other people are doing, and jump in. jump in,
Oh
take
my
one
gosh.
step. Yeah, go ahead.
I love this metaphor. Oh my gosh. Be brave, hold the snake. I guess it's not a metaphor, it's a command. But yeah, oh gosh, that's so true. That's so true. I love it.
Yeah, most people have a huge fear of snakes, and they're actually quite cool. Maybe not so much rattlesnakes as far as holding them, but this one was absolutely fine to hold. But the point is that just go for it. To take one step and take baby steps. Just take a couple of steps, and pretty soon you're walking, and you're going for it. And that's the only way to make it happen. And usually the first couple of steps are the most fearful, and you just have to keep going. So jump in. And at this point, I'm going to mention that I'd love to help you with your website. I'd love for you to join me at a workshop. My contact information is up on the screen. I invite you to go to my website to look at my blogs. I invite you to leverage information in my website and the tips that I've given you. I get great pleasure out of seeing people reuse something that I've done. So I hope that you do. And Mark, I'll turn it back over to you now.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh. Kathleen, you rocked it once again. If you didn't participate in the other webinars, this is the end of our series, and we had 3 webinars. And holy moly, Kathleen overperformed, over-delivered every time. And to see the recordings of the prior ones, those are posted on the Building Aspirations YouTube page. So you go to youtube.com/building aspirations. That's the name of my consulting practice. So they're hosted there. So make sure to get all the value and touch base with Kathleen. Her contact information is on the screen right there. And Carrie, yeah, she asked him. I love it. I mentioned it, and Carrie already sees the value, and she's asking. It's like, how do I get the other 2? Yeah, they're the most recent posts on the Building Aspirations YouTube page at youtube.com/building aspirations, and they're both about 45 minutes long. And I'll probably be putting these all in a comprehensive course in the near future to give you even more value. We'll add maybe some blog posts and some little reference materials and some guides to keep you going. So contact Kathleen whether you want to tap into photography, or you are a hobbyist or are a professional or want to be. She is a phenomenal resource, and she's walked the walk, and she's talked the talk. And
Thank you, Mark.
I so appreciate her. She is such an inspiration to me. I learn from her all the time. And one thing that is super critical to all of this is you need to always, always, always build your email marketing database. It is just the fundamental, it is the step one to all of this stuff. Because quite honestly, if Kathleen has a rockin' workshop and nobody attends, is it really a great workshop, right? Yeah, I tell my clients all the time, your products can't be a secret. Your services can't be a secret. If nobody knows how great you are, you're really not so great. And having an email marketing database is really fundamental to that. Because if you have to pay for Google advertising, Google wins. If you have to pay for Facebook advertising, Facebook wins. You may win as well, but now you are constantly, consistently paying the keeper of the keys. Well, what if you have the keys? If you have your own database of people who know and love you, who respect the quality of your product and services, now you always have a market, and your marketing is just so much more cost effective. And as Kathleen said, now you can focus on refining, making it more beautiful, because you don't have to worry about what's called acquisition. acquiring those customers, acquiring those contacts. And then when you integrate it into social media, wow, it can just explode because we know social media is crazy, and people on Facebook have an average of 338 friends. So if someone on Facebook promotes Kathleen's workshop, they're promoting it to well in excess of 338 people. So if you haven't gotten started with constant contact email marketing, you need to get started. And I'm putting a link on the screen right there, and you can go directly there, or you know what? You can go to a link that I'm providing in the chat box. I'm sending it right now. This is a super secret link. I am a strategic partner with Constant Contact. Officially, it's called Authorized Local Expert. And I can give you a sweet deal. And you can get started for $5 a month. For the first 3 months, it doesn't matter the size of your list, you can get started for almost no money. And Kathleen literally showed you how she was able to sell workshops for $1,250 and sold them out with Constant Contact. And now you can do that for almost no cost for the 3 months. So click on that link, see the details on the landing page, and take advantage of that. And I know some of you are fans of Constant Contact. You've been using it for a while, and great. We appreciate you too. And we have another opportunity for you. If you see the value here and just need a little bit of expertise, gosh, how can I really, Mark, tell me a little bit more about how to build my database. Tell me a little bit more about how to create those. Oh, Carrie says Constant Contact is awesome. Great. She loves all the new tools. Great, great. Well, I'm going to post this link in the chat box, and you are invited to schedule an appointment with me. If you click on that link at buildingaspirations.com/appointment, you can schedule a phone consultation with me. And that's one-on-one with me. We're talking. And we're talking about what you need to do in your business to solve your marketing problems.
Oh my
If
gosh,
you
you guys, take advantage of that opportunity.
Oh,
That
thank you, Kathleen. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And I do this because I wanted this when I started my business 20 years ago. It's like, I mean, you couldn't figure out this stuff, right? And I know there's like, I have so many questions. I get it, right? So in this first call, we're focused on you. This is a $75 value. So just click on that link, set up that appointment. We're on the phone. And Carrie, we can talk very specifically about your blog challenges and how to get started and how to integrate that to promote your travel agency. Absolutely. And then if you want more details about how to do the autoresponder series and get going on that, we can definitely talk about that as well. So, well, thank you so much. We're right at the end point here, and Kathleen and I know that you have choices, and you chose to spend a little bit of time with us, so we appreciate that. So a final thank you to everybody for participating. Remember that you'll get the recording to this webinar at 10:10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and in a thank you email from me, that's mark@buildingaspirations.com. So final thanks to everybody who participated. Kathleen, once again, thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you to everyone as well.
All right, bye-bye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.